What's going on? I'm prepping to go on a trip, and it's going to be the first cold winter trip of the season. So, figured I'd show what I'm going to do differently in cold weather. And I'm making a change all around, pretty much, kind of going back to something. So, not going to talk about where I'm going because you'll find that out in the next video. But new state, I'm going to be backpacking in, and maybe meeting some new people. So that's going to be fun. Since it's cold weather, though, I'm going to have to change my pack. I've been carrying either my old Teton Sports Summit 4800, my small 46 liter, or my Osprey without the brain on it, without the top cover. But I'm going to go with the Osprey, and I'm going to have the top cover on there. Since it's cold weather, my quilts are synthetic insulation, which makes them a little bulkier. I'm going to talk about those first. So, in the summer, I can fit my full-size underquilt and my top quilt in this bag. Not so in the winter. This is just my underquilt in here, my 10-degree underquilt. And then over here, I've got my top quilt and my utility quilt. And my utility quilt is, it's what I use in summer for my 3/4 underquilt. It's only 55 inches long, it's 50-degree fill, but I've got it set up in a way that I can use it for multiple things. In the fall and spring, I use it as a layer in my underquilt. So I have my 50-degree full-length underquilt and then this little utility quilt in there. So when I first started winter backpacking with a hammock, I had crappy quilts. That first set of quilts I made were just garbage, and they did not hold. They were 10-degree quilts, but they didn't hold in any heat. I didn't know what I was doing. So what I wound up doing was layering those with my summer quilts I made, my 50 degrees, and that worked pretty good. So I'm gonna kind of go back to the same thing, not really, but kind of. It's kind of a weird setup. I'm using my 10-degree underquilt, my new 10-degree underquilt and top quilt, but I'm going to use that utility quilt almost to make a cocoon. And I'll show you that. If you're curious about what I'm talking about, I'll show that in the video of the trip, how it's set up. But either way, that's all in here. This stuff's a little bit heavy. With all three quilts, it's about 6 pounds. That's a lot of insulation. But, like I said, it is synthetic. And down is great, don't get me wrong. It's expensive, but it's great. It packs down, it's really light. This stuff is just so durable. You beat the crap out of this stuff. Like, I don't have to worry about it. It can get wet, if I get a tear in the shell of the quilt, all this insulation doesn't go flying out, you can just wrap the insulation around it, you'd be fine. So I don't like worrying about babying my quilts, so synthetic it is until I can find down that is as durable as this. Synthetic it is. So that's my quilts. What I've been using for that lighting, I apologize for the lighting. I'm doing this in my living room because this is where I have all my stuff, and I've just got like a light over here. My light above me is garbage and it doesn't work really well. The lighting is just weird. I apologize, but whatever. So what I've been using, my main hammock setup is right here. This is my Coyote pack. It's a purple bag, but the hammock itself is orange. 11 feet long, 72 inches wide, bug net, ridgeline, cinch buckle suspension. Weighs about 1.5 pounds. But man, this thing, you can lounge out in this. You can almost lay flat across it, just like the shortest way, almost flat across it. That's how wide this thing is. This is incredible. And then this is my Dyneema Tarp. This is about 10 ounces, 11 ounces with the cordage. This is like 1.5 pounds all together with the cordage and the stuff sacks and everything. These two weigh about 2 pounds, 2.1 pounds. This is what I've been using. Not huge. The Dyneema Tarp doesn't pack down real small, but in the winter, not great. Not great. Saw last year what happens when snow accumulates on a Dyneema tarp and it gets a little bit too much tension. Saw one rip. That sucked. Great for rain, really strong, really durable, but it just something went wrong and it just ripped. We were able to fix it, but not mine, but that kind of sucked. But I'm not going to take this. I'm going to do something different. Again, back to kind of how I used to do winter camping. Different gear now, but this is my this is my Westrom UL. This is 10 feet long. It's 62 inches wide, 63 inches wide, I think. The monolight's a little bit wider than the standard rip stop. It's only 9 ounces. It's so small. No bug net, but it doesn't need it. I added a ridge line to it and an organizer, and this is a cinch buckle suspension, but look how small that is. And then I'm gonna go with my small Sil Poly diamond tarp that barely stretches, and it's barely 10 feet long. It might be 10 and a half feet long, the ridge line. It covers this, but just barely. And I've used this a few times. This is the tarp I take when it's not supposed to rain, and it always winds up raining. There's no rain in the forecast, so this is what I'm planning on taking. If that changes before I leave, I might just throw my big Sil Poly tarp in there, my circus tent tarp, the big gray one. I might just throw that in my bag just in case, and if the weather changes once we get out to where we're going, I'll swap. But this is what I'm planning on taking, more for maybe holding in heat. If it gets too cold, I can kind of pull this down really tight. If it rains a little bit, or if I just need some privacy. I don't know what the camping situation is going to be like out there, so I'm going to take this. These two together weigh 1.2 pounds. That's almost a pound less than my Coyote pack and my Dyneema tarp. So heavy insulation, really light hammock and tarp shelter system. So this is no bug net, and I never used to use a bug net in the winter. I'm gonna go back to that. I think I don't need it, and it saves space and saves weight. So, and this is a comfortable hammock. The Dyneema tarp can use up to 10 tent stakes. This is gonna only use 2. So to round out the sleep system, I got my pillow. This is just memory foam, and that's all I need. It just really, it's not a lot of support in the hammock. You don't really need it. It adds a little bit of warmth, and it when you're in a hammock, it just kind of cradles your head just the right way that your head's not rocking around on a hammock. And then my old fluffy sleeping socks that I'll throw on. They're nice and loose, which is good for your feet. Keeps the blood flow going to your feet, but they're also nice and fluffy, so they help insulate your feet. For my cook kit, I'm taking, I kind of went back and forth on what I wanted to take. I love my canister stove, my pocket rocket. That thing is awesome. But it's going to be lows in the 20s, mid to low 20s, and the canister fuel doesn't always do so good. And that fuel that I have, the first time I used it, it got down into the 40s and it sputtered a little bit. So it's not really cold weather mix. So I thought for a second, kind of kicked around the idea of taking either the Solo stove or the solid fuel stove, my Esbit stove. If I take the Esbit stove, I got to take well, I don't have to, but I generally take my canteen cup, which is a little heavier. And if I take the Solo stove, I don't really want to mess around with the Solo stove. I love the Solo stove, but I don't know how wet the ground's going to be out there, how wet the wood's going to be, and you really need dry wood to get that thing going. So I'm going to go with the alcohol stove, my little Cat Fancy Feast stove that Rocco made for me a few years ago, and I replaced the liner and the felt in it since then, but it still works really well. I got my fuel. I'll probably top that off. I've got 6.5 ounces there, so I'll throw 1.5 ounces in there, top it off at 8, and that'll be enough for the weekend. And then I'll take my titanium pot. That's drying right now. I just washed all the stuff out to make sure it's dry. So the only thing I'll need the stove for is for my coffee and oatmeal in the morning, and then for boiling water at night for dinner. That's it. So that'll be way more than enough. So a lot of times in winter, I like to carry a chair with me, and I've got my little Sunyear chair that I've been using for years. But I think I gotta see what my total weight is once I get everything else on, because that weighs like a pound and a half, 2 pounds, something like that. I forget exactly what the weight is on it. But I might just take this. This is my Bushcraft hammock chair. Super light. So with a set of tree straps, whoopee slings, and some buckles to hold it to the hammock, this only weighs 0.4 pounds. So that's really light. And then I've got my Climate Stadium seat. This is pretty light. I didn't weigh this, but this is pretty light. I might take this so if there's rocks or something like that near camp, near the fire pit or a stump or something like that, I can sit on that. I don't know if I'll need a chair. The two of these together, way lighter than that camp chair. I will be taking my Sawyer Filter with me. And I usually just keep it in this mesh bag with my Canuck bag. But in the winter, I take a Ziploc bag with me. And especially if it's going to be especially below freezing, this will go in the Ziploc bag, and at night it will go in my pocket. And even during the day, I'll just keep it in my pocket just to keep it from freezing. You don't want your filter to freeze, that sucks. So I'll be taking these two for my water filtration, and then I'll take my Nalgene and my I forget who makes that thing. That clear bottle I've been using. It's like these are 32 ounce. I think that's 28. So it'll be about 2 liters, because this will hold a little more than a liter. For my headlamp, I found my Uko. That thing was missing since Wisconsin. I just found it like 2 weeks ago. It was in my duffel bag that I used when I went out to Wisconsin for my clothes. And I went to move it, and I heard something rattling around in there, and there it was. So I got my Uko light back. I've got it mounted to my wool hat, my coal hat, and I like this. At first I didn't really like the idea of the flashlight on the hat, but when it's cold, I can throw my hood on. If it gets really cold, I can throw on a neck gaiter. In my hammock, I'm under my quilts, and if I need a light, it's right there. I don't have to hang it up anywhere. This isn't putting, like, when you got a headband on, it's kind of putting pressure on your head. Nothing. So it's just handy. It's there, and you can always turn it around if the light's in your way. So I'll take this. It's all charged up. Glad I found that. I'd like this for the winter. So for my electronics, I'll have my phone with me. I'm gonna take my GoPro, and I'll use my Anchor. This is a PowerCore 20100. I've had 2 of these for about 5 or 6 years now, and these things are great. They just keep on kicking. That'll be for the GoPro and my phone. But I'm also going to take this smaller, this is a Goal Zero charger, and I forget how many milliamp hours this is. It's not many. It's kind of hard to see. It's kind of worn off, but it looks like it says 5,200 milliamp hours. Might be 3,200. But my Garmin watch, I use that for my tracking. And I can get pretty much a full day out of that tracking. It'll go up to like 12 or 13 hours when it's in GPS mode. But there's days where it doesn't charge up all the way, or for whatever reason, I'm getting notifications or something, and the battery starts to die a little faster. I can take this out and put it in my pocket, or put it in like my hoodie or something like that, or even just put it somewhere right on my backpack and charge the phone up, and charge the watch up rather, with this. And I use this to charge the watch at home, and I can charge that watch for 2 weeks with this thing. Easy. And that's if I'm using it for GPS. If I'm just using it as a watch, I can get like 5 or 6 days out of it. So yeah, this is more than enough. I could use this, but when I'm hiking, if I need to charge it, I gotta either have it like up in the top pocket and put the watch away. This is nice and small. I can put it up front and charge. For the few ounces it weighs, it's worth it. I've got my kind of odds and ends stuff. I've got my bag of snacks, which I guess wouldn't be base weight kind of stuff, but there's just my Cliff bars and my granola bars in there. I've got my first aid kit, which has got some compressed toilet paper, bandages, Band-Aids, some ointments, things like that in there, and some Purell. I think my tip key is in there as well. I just saw that in there. And then I got my fire kit, and this is just like a possibles pouch kind of thing. It's basically a fire kit. I got my matches. I've got some more Purell because that's a handy fire starter. I've got a lighter. I've got my ferro rod, my striker. I've got a spare carabiner. That's also, it's called a fire beaner. And you couldn't hang the hammock with this. It's not rated for that. But if I needed something to hang the bag or anything like that, the food bag, anything, I could use this. It's also got a small screwdriver. It's got a small cutter right here. It's got, I think it also works as a bottle opener. And yeah, I think you could even use this. I think those holes are supposed to be for like a fishing, I don't know what you'd actually use this for. Something. But it's also got a flint in there, which is really handy. So if you need an extra fire starter, you got that. I got a piece of fat wood in here. And then I've got my, where's the rest of this whole thing? I've got my, oh, there it is. I've got my pocket bellow, my new pocket bellows I had to replace. And then that came with some little fire starters, some little beeswax fire starters. So I got those. And that's in my fire kit. So multiple ways to start a fire, which I think is always handy to have. But it depends. Some days I want to sit there and I want to mess with the striker and the fire steel, or not the fire steel. Some days I want to mess with the fire. Some days I want to mess around with the ferro rod and use that. Some days I don't want to be bothered. I just want to use a lighter. Sometimes I want to use matches. So I just take the whole thing, and that way, if one fails, I got backup. It's important to be able to light your stove and a campfire, especially in the winter. Now, what am I doing about food? We'll go into the kitchen and I will show you. So for dinner, what I'm going to make is chili mac. I've got some 93% lean ground beef here that I'm going to brown up, rinse, and then brown up again. Some rotini I'm about ready to throw into the boiling water there. Some Bush's chili magic beans, some tomato sauce, some black olive pearls. I like those in my chili. Some chili mix, and I'm going to throw some pepper strips and onions in there as well. And that's going to be my chili. The water is boiling, so I can get the rotini going. And then once all that's cooked up, I'm going to throw it on the dehydrator underneath my lunch pail there and dehydrate it. So I've got my chili mac made. I've got a 1 cup scoop here. And then what I do is I scoop out 1 cup. I put 1 cup per tray. I'm doing 3 meals, three dinners, just in case I need 3. It's probably 1 extra from what I'll need. But I always like to take an extra meal just in case. And then I will let this sit overnight. It's about 5 o'clock now, so when I get up tomorrow for work, I'll probably take this off if it seems like it's done. And then I'll bag it up and have 3 already measured out meals, 1 tray per bag, and they'll be ready to go. All I need to do once I get to camp is add some hot water, let it sit. My lunches are going to be really simple, just no cook option here. Some turkey sausage sticks with some Cola Jack cheese, and then some peanut butter crackers, cheese and peanut butter crackers. That's going to be my lunches, nice and simple. Breakfast, really simple. Oatmeal, cup of oatmeal, and then, I don't know, I'm going to make 2 breakfasts. I'm not sure if I'm going to do apple, banana, or mango. I'm going to do 2 of those 3. Not sure which one. But these are dehydrated or freeze-dried, like fruit chips. And you put in with the oatmeal, and then when you rehydrate the oatmeal, or when you cook the oatmeal, these get nice and soft, kind of reconstitute, and you got a little flavor in your oatmeal. What I've decided on for my breakfast is I'm going to do the banana and the apple. What I'm going to do, I'll start with the banana. I'm going to put this is about 2/3 of a cup of oatmeal. I'm going to put the banana chips and a spoonful of peanut butter in there. So peanut butter banana oatmeal for one morning, and the second morning with the apple, I'm going to add some cinnamon. So I'll have apple cinnamon oatmeal one morning, peanut butter banana oatmeal the other, and then in here is my coffee kit, I guess you call it. I got a little container here with enough coffee. I mean, I've had that last a week, that much coffee. A couple instant teas and a couple packs of sugar in the raw. And for my coffee, that's ground coffee, I use my coffee rocket. Where's the rest of it? Make a mess. So I use my coffee rocket. Which has a little basket here. I just am washing it. So it's got the little basket that goes into the stand. You put your coffee in the filter like you would with a Keurig. You then put the hopper on there. You fill it up with water. You set that on your cup. The water, it filters through, and you got nice fresh brewed coffee. It's a little bulky, but when you're out on the trail, the coffee is great to have. So I'm gonna get this stuff made. There you go, those are made up. These are 1 quart freezer bags, Ziploc freezer bags. They're BPH free. I can leave the food in here, put boiling water right in it. It won't melt, it won't break, it doesn't leach chemicals into your food when it's hot. These are great for using for backpacking. Of course, you do have some plastic bags to carry out, but there's less cleanup than if you're cooking in your pot, and it's just pretty easy. Downside is definitely having the plastic bags. But whenever possible, if it's something like dry food, like this doesn't really work because the oatmeal kind of sticks to it, but a lot of times I'll try to reuse these if I can. So I've put my turkey sausages and cheese into a Ziploc bag to keep them together. I've also got a pack of peanut butter to go, like Jif to go, and some pretzel sticks, which will be either an additional lunch, like an additional meal if I need it, or just a snack, or whatever. Maybe somebody needs something to eat. I always try to carry extra. I'll have an extra dinner and an extra snack lunch. And then, since this stuff is going to sit in the refrigerator until I leave, I won't put the crackers in the refrigerator with these, but the crackers will go with these too. For snacks, I'm going to have some of these Quaker Chewy bars and some Cliff bars. I've got a bunch of Cliff bars here. I'll add those into my pack. These will go separately from my main food, so I have them on the trail. But it's important. It seems like a lot of extra food for a couple days, but when it's cold weather, you can't stay warm if you don't have calories to burn. So you got to remember, you can wear all the layers you want. You can have the warmest socks, the warmest quilts, the warmest everything. It means nothing if you've got no calories to burn. All your layers, all your insulation only holds in heat. It doesn't generate heat. You generate it. So if you're cold when you're camping in the winter, you're not eating enough. That's really the best way to look at it. You're not bringing in enough calories. As soon as you run out of calories, your body stops producing heat. So if you get cold easily, you get up to pee in the middle of the night, have a snack. Before you get in the hammock, have a snack. You just wake up, have a snack. Eat lots of little things. You don't have to eat a huge meal, but continuously feed yourself calories in the cold weather. That's how you stay warm. So once all that, the rest of it's all set and ready to go, I'll throw that into the plastic bag here. I got my breakfast in here already, my coffee stuff, and then I've got my throw rope and carabiner in here. The rest of that, the food will go in that bag. It'll go in here, and then I'll be ready to go. And that'll be the last thing I need. Well, if that interested you at all, hopefully it did. That's how I pack for a cold weather trip. And yeah, kind of back to basics with my sleep system. No more bug net in the winter. Small tarp, if anything. If I don't need that tarp, I'd rather not use it. If it's really windy, I'll throw it up because I can pitch that really tight. Or like I said, if I need some privacy, I'll do that. But the only other thing I'm going to take other than clothes, I guess this is technically clothes, will be my my Amazon puffy jacket and my gloves, just in case it gets really cold. But somebody commented on a long-term review video I did of this that I didn't put the jacket on. So there, jacket's on. See, it fits. This thing has been surprisingly comfortable. I generally like to wear my orange Bugaboo jacket, but this packs down so small, it's super light, and I was using this in Arizona the end of last year, beginning of this year, and there's days where it was down single digits, maybe lower. I don't remember if we got to the negatives out there, but a couple of nights it got cold, and this held up just fine. So with a couple layers, it's all I need. And really, just to get moving in the morning, you throw this on and you're all set. Oh, and my knife. I'll take my bar knife with me. And that's it. That'll be it. Maybe my chair. And I don't think there'll be any additional add-ons, but if there are, I'll tell you when I'm on a trail. Hope you guys enjoy this. Keep an eye out for the trip video for this, which should be the next video. Happy Thanksgiving, because this came out on Thanksgiving. And I'll see you in the next.